26 days, y'all. 26 days, and I have not smoked. The heat is real in the South. Let me tell you something. You ain't experienced heat until you done been in the South in the summer, in August. That's when you've experienced true heat. So I'm really enjoying this whole ride the train thing. I ain't did it in a while, but it's cool. The bus was late, so we had to walk from one spot to the next, and the young lady felt bad for me, so she ended up giving me a drink. That was very nice of her, you know. So I have found that when you're riding the train or the bus or whatever, reading is the bomb diggity, right? So I started reading this book by Viola Davis.
I got too much stuff to read.
This is I started reading her book,
This stuff's kind of heavy to me.
and
I need to go to the gym and get a shake.
so I'm reading the first chapter, and in the first chapter, she titles it running,
Like having a snack before dinner.
and I think that that's deep because
Having a snack.
when I read the
Run.
when I read the first chapter and I read about what she went through as a child and how she used to have to run home from school or whatever, it made me say, I could relate. It's like I could relate. I could relate to how she felt because I remember as a young girl. And for me, I had to, my stepmother would always, she knew what time I got out of school. So she would say, I need you to be here by, you got 10 minutes to get home. Or if she'd give me a time. And so in order to get there by the time she gave me, I had to run as soon as the bell rang. I would have to run. And it's so funny because one of the kids that I grew up with, John, we actually still know each other. And he was in my second grade class. And he was on the Move Unscripted one day. And he was like, Patricia, I remember when you used to run. We were in the same second grade class. He said, you was like the fastest runner. Because I remember, I think I did a race between one of the little kids one day because I was that fast. Like I really could run. But I didn't have a choice. If I wasn't there by a certain time, she would beat me. That was one of the punishments. So I had to run. So when I'm reading Viola's book, and she talks about how, for her, she had to run because bullies were after her, and every day she would have to run because they would chase her. So she was like me, was a fast runner because she had to run. I just think that's so when because when you start running as a child, you start to find yourself still running when you're an adult. How you doing, Paul? Go somewhere and shut up. Let me remove you, Harold. Yeah, let me move Harold. Come back up here, Harold. I'll put you in the corner. So, it's wild because when I'm reading her story and I look at this little girl and I can imagine her running, right? Running from the bullies, running from the people that were throwing rocks and stuff at her. And I remember John used to chase me. That was while I'm running, he used to be chasing me. I'm like, what you chasing me for? He used to call me kicker butt. I used to hate that. I still remember that. But we're cool now. I laugh with him. He's a cool guy. But it's just deep because one of the things about overcoming your trauma is understanding things where the trauma started. What do you remember? For me, I remember my first memory of the abuse with my stepmother was when I was in the first grade. That's what I remember. So for her first And she went through the same thing I went through. Like I can't wait to read the rest of this book. I'm definitely gonna be reading this book. um, she went through the same thing. Like she went through the domestic violence. She went through the, the molestation and child abuse. It's so crazy how so many of our stories are interconnected. Especially for the young girls um, who were raised in the 70s and 80s and 60s and stuff. Like, it wasn't cool to be dark skinned. That's why you see me now. I promote, like, when I see the dark skinned models, I celebrate them. I celebrate them because we have had it hard. Dark skinned women have had it hard for a long time, many years. So when I see, like the one I've been promoting, that confidence, I celebrate them. I celebrate you. You're embracing your beauty. You don't care what people think, because most of us who are dark skinned had to go through being bullied and picked on. I like riding the train. I like riding the train. I didn't bring any of my books or anything to sell today, because I just wanted to chill and I just wanted to read and just relax. I ain't feel like being in the hustle mode. I ain't feel like it's probably gonna let me make sure ain't nothing. You gotta be looking in these seats because you don't never know what's in there. But yeah, yeah. So those things that you experience in childhood, a lot of times, they still follow you. So you got to reach back to what was it that caused the trauma. Look at my. I like writing. I just like writing. Okay. What was it that caused your trauma? What was it that caused your drama? What was it? If you can reach back to that, then you can start the forgiving process. Because you can forgive those things where the trauma began. Like, I forgave my stepmother. I forgave her. And a lot of people used to be like, how could you forgive her? I don't know. I just forgave them. I don't, I forgave them. For a lot of people, forgiveness is hard, but if you don't forgive, you stay trapped. But the one thing I will say is, and I'm talking back to the running, if you start running when you're young, for whatever reason, for some reason, that follows you. And whenever there's a fight or flight, or there's an issue that you don't want to face, you run. Because you're still running. You're still that child that was running. That was how you escaped the abuse. Or that's how you got past the bullies. Or that's how you made it through, is you ran. So that concept of running tends to follow you until you recognize it. Let me see. Paul said, do you have any dildo? You was ignorant something. You know what? Ignorance irritates me. I like wisdom. If you're gonna come on my thing, bring knowledge. Bring me something. Feed my soul. Don't come with no negative stuff. Get up off of my thing. I'm putting you in timeout because you just disrespected the whole live. So timeout for you, bro. Get off my live, Tom. This train is bound for Thank you, Miss Reynolds. Appreciate you. Thank you for my hair. I did it myself. Let me see. Paul said, Naomi Campbell. Let me make sure I don't miss mine. Which word is it? No, this was the first one. Huh? Oh, this is East Point? Thank you. Then I'll get to talking and forget where I'm at. So the next one is, okay. So, you said Naomi Campbell is dark skinned. one of the biggest supermodels ever. I don't understand that prejudice at all. I don't either. I don't either. But it has been. In fact, that's not even something just in the African American community. That's something that's in all cultures. Like they they disrespect the darkest one, and a lot of races, a lot of races. I've heard that from different races. So, thank you, thank you, Karthik. How you doing? I appreciate that. Peace and love to you. Yeah, I like to do different styles. That's what I did like about braiding my hair this way. Go somewhere and say you got on timeout too. You can't. They can't just come and be nice. Those, they got to come with some hate and racist type stuff, and I can't stand it. If you're a racist person,